Hello and welcome back to Downtime Activities. Welcome back to the Rebel Scum game, where our brave Rebel heroes have just come out of hyperspace, directly in the line of sight of a familiar Imperial Star Destroyer, the Imperial Star Destroyer, the Titan. A vessel once where Commander Badger was a commanding officer aboard, and now a wanted criminal running away from.
Is it just the Titan, or is there?
It's just the Titan here.
Okay.
And as you kind of break into this space, you hear immediately over the comms a Imperial kind of customs check of this is the Imperial ship Titan. Transmit clearance codes.
Transmit up yours, Imperial scum. I mean, 1 second. What do I tell you?
Excuse me. Transmit codes.
Can I do a warfare to see if I know of any codes that we could
Go
use?
for it. Give me a daunting knowledge warfare.
You
have a
flip one of those. Flip one of those. I need an extra.
Oh wait.
Yeah. So that's what, 4 purple?
4 purple.
Oh god. 3 threats and a triumph.
3 threats and a triumph. You think you have a code that might work?
Scoos, relay this code here as I say it.
Relaying code, Imperial.
And he puts this through. And he puts it through, and there's a moment. And you said threat too, right? With that?
3 threats.
Says, this code seems to check out. However, the vessel you're on board is not registered, and you're in a system under investigation for potential rebel activity. We will have to bring you in and check your ship.
And there's nowhere for me to hide in this, is there?
You're in space.
Alright. How do we want to play this? Because our ship's not fast.
Maneuver into the hangar for inspection.
Do I tell him up his again?
No, Shoes, don't. This is out of character now. I'm trying to think of what the fuck we do.
I reckon we just turn around and go.
Just bail.
We just bail.
Try and run.
Yeah, why not? So I'm just immediately gonna flip this.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Try and
maneuver,
run away.
just flip it and then punch it into hyperspace.
Okay. You can't really...
Or
you have to do an astrogations check in order to go into hyperspace without just colliding and dying.
okay.
So
I'm gonna just at least maneuver around and start going the opposite direction of the Titan.
and you can tell your astromech to try. He will start trying to do an astrogation.
Okay, so he could start.
He can try to do the astrogation check while you pilot to just try and start running away.
All right. Nate, start prepping the warp drive or the hyperdrive. We gotta get out of here.
Okay.
Oh no. I don't like that. Okay.
You hear, and you see a little gasket pop on Nate, and some steam come out of him, and him go and you can see his head start to spin a little bit, and it seems like he's having some sort of a malfunction in attempting this. And as you twist and turn about to start trying to fly away, give me a planeting space.
Average. 2 success and a threat.
You turn about and start to maneuver away from this. It's a quick and sudden movement. Okay. However, with the threat, you turn about and this thing swerves and starts to fly away, and then you feel as the ship suddenly stops in its tracks and slowly starts getting recalled back towards this Star Destroyer as you get hit by a tractor beam. And then all of a sudden this droid's head stops spinning, goes route calculated.
Route calculated. We'll punch it.
You can try. If you want to try and punch it into hyperspace while on a tractor beam?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that?
No.
Some of your ship might not make it with you. It seems like it was able to successfully do it, but it had a malfunction and it took it an extra round to do it.
No, we're screwed at this point.
But you do have a successful course landed if you're able to get out of this somehow, to try and jump out of this spot.
Okay. How the hell can how can we angle this? All right, Scoos, Tobaku, I'm gonna leave it to you two up here. I'm gonna potentially hide out in the gunnery chamber here. If anything goes wrong, I will at least be able to assist you, but I cannot be spotted by the ship.
I reckon we see what happens.
I can sweet talk him. Don't worry.
Oh, we're so screwed.
And you hear over the comms kick up again, and it says, "Power down engines, vessel."
I'll tell Nate, power him down.
And the ship powers down, and slowly the prism is pulled back into the hangar of the Titan.
I'll go stand up and wait for them to, like at the.
You give me an easy stealth check to hide yourself in the gunnery cockpit.
Okay. Do we have like a?
You have like basically a like bottom hatch that you like extend a ladder out and would climb down.
For success and an advantage.
Okay, you feel like you're tucked away pretty well hidden inside of here, and with a decent line of sight on the main like ladder up, but like a tucked away hidden spot.
I'm gonna have my blaster pistol ready, kind of just like
Ready just in case.
Yeah.
I will. I guess I'll just kind of go down the ladder.
Do you have your weapon with you?
Probably best if you didn't show you that you were armed.
Yeah, I'll leave it.
Okay. Scoos is trying to come with you and does have his rocket still tucked in his belt.
You stay here.
Honey boss.
And watch my gun.
Honey boss.
I like to think he's just gonna sit there staring.
And you land. You can see as like your ship kind of pulls in and lands down here. You can see a number of Imperials moving around and a couple of troopers kind of lined up in front here.
You can
Are you
make
coming down out of the ship?
Yeah.
You can make the excuse your astromech malfunctioned, which is why you turned around all hardcore.
You step down out of this, or slither down out of this, and in front of you, you see clearly someone in Imperial officer's uniform, and he's flanked by 4 stormtroopers. And he says, kind of like looks over the ship, and he says, "What exactly are you doing out in this part of space, Mr.
Name's Toba.
Toba?" Of course it is. It would seem that you tried to turn tail and fly away from our search of your vessel. Is there a reason for that?
Well, that'd be Nate. And I like look up to the. Is there like a little pod
Mhm.
that
And the little droid head, like, looking the wrong way, like, turns around and...
that'd be Nate. He's a little slow sometimes, but he gets us where we're going.
Average deception.
Oh, please work. Please work.
One success.
Okay. We'll look up. R5 series are notoriously unreliable. Please step aside. This search shouldn't take long. It's a rather small vessel. And he kind of looks back and he starts gesturing for some of the stormtroopers to start moving up.
Sir, I have a friend in there who is a little on edge. Would you allow me to direct him out? Or
I would
direct him-
like everyone on board the ship, apart from your droid, I suppose, out in front of us here now. How many people are on board your ship?
Just me and my gunner.
Very well. Bring
Or
him
not
out
her.
here.
Wait a minute. Not gunner.
Comms.
Comms is
For commsman.
because they would recognize his voice.
Comrade.
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 So I say, well, the Scoos, come on out here.
And he kind of sticks his head out of the little hatch. He's like, "Do you want me to bring a gun, or do I need to not watch you anymore?"
Why don't you
No weapons necessary. Come down.
just stow it away.
And you kind of like,
Okay.
and you're like thump, of something up there, and then him climb down. He does not have the rocket pistol in. You watch as he okay. He looks back, then he just pulls this out and just drops it on the ground, his rocket pistol, so he's not armed, and climbs down here, and it's just sitting next to the hatch now. And he climbs down and just there, and he's also kind of mean mugging. You can tell he's trying to mean mug, but this guy seems to be like fucking weird little alien thing. Okay, whatever. And he says, "Very well, step aside." And again, he gestures, and you see 2 stormtroopers start to move up into the ship.
Yeah, I'm just kind of listening.
You're kind of tucked in corner here. You can see one troop and then another trooper kind of climb up into this middle section, and they're going to start looking around throughout the ship. They go towards the driver's side first, the pilot cockpit, first, and searching through it. But it's all very close. They kind of move the curtain aside to go into there. What are you doing? You have a moment, I think, before they come in. You're hidden, but this ship is very small.
The moment they come here, they'll probably...
They'd have to roll abysmally on a check that shouldn't be very hard for them to not see somebody sitting inside of this, even someone well hidden sitting inside here.
I'm gonna sneak up. I'm gonna try and pull myself out, sneak up on one, and stun him.
Okay.
That'll probably be my more quieter move, and while one's inspecting the cabin, I'll knock him out as well.
Try and do both. So, to start, I'll let you, since you had such a good stealth roll before, I'll let you get like a free stun shot, basically.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll that.
It'll be with my pistol because that's what I have at the ready.
Okay. Man,
so it's an easy.
You chose not to have the silencer on it too.
Yeah, I know. It's a real kicker. It's almost like you planned for that one.
I don't know what your plans are.
Can I? If I take an aim, can I take an aim action for this or no?
No, because your maneuver is moving up to them
okay,
basically since they're through that. So
3 success and a threat.
3 success and threat. You stun one. You don't know how quiet it was, and the other guy definitely noticed. He goes down. But wait, what's the damage on the pistol?
It's a 7.
7 with 3, yes. So he gets stunned and he goes down. The other guy is going to turn about, and I need you to roll me a cool, and he's going to roll a vigilance for who acts first, which may be.
Well, I think I'm gonna go first. 2 success, an advantage, and a triumph.
He got 4 advantages, so you are first.
I am going to stun him as well.
Okay, shoot it.
And is he also close range?
He is also close range, and you can use your maneuver to aim this time.
I am going to aim this time. 1 success, 1 advantage.
1 success, 1 advantage. Let me take a quick look at something here. Stormtroopers move. So that's 8 damage, right? With your pistol. He might... Oh wait, no, he's a... Yeah, no. I don't need to worry about their strength threshold. Stormtroopers they get stunned. If it gets past their soak, they get stunned. So, you bat and he goes, slumps over. You hear outside of the ship, and you see, well, let's see, let's find out if he hears it. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So you see this guy this officer, you definitely hear that because you're closer to the ship. This officer is standing there and just seems to be like, for crying. This is a small vessel. Is it empty or not? He says. He moves up shouting into that. You hear that get shouted up into the ship.
Okay, I'm going to try and use a deception here.
Okay.
We found something. We don't know what it is. Can you come? We need a hand. Can you come up here?
Give me a average deception.
Coercion at this point.
No, it's deception.
Is it deception?
Coercion is like intimidation. There's a separate deception.
Yes.
And go ahead and make one of those into a red. Because I want a chance of catastrophic failure, of course.
2 success, 2 threats.
2 success, 2 threats. He said, "We're coming." Then he gestures behind him, and you can see another one of these. There's now one stormtrooper watching you and Scooz. There's other people inside the hangar, but right here, there's one stormtrooper watching the 2 of you, and he has this stormtrooper start walking towards there, and he follows behind him. And so you see kind of starting to climb this ladder a stormtrooper.
Yeah, I'm gonna take cover behind like the comms area because I'm assuming that'll be like he wouldn't notice it right away.
Okay.
So I'm gonna cover behind there and wait for him to get up.
Okay.
First.
Give me a average stealth check. Average stealth check.
1 success, 1 threat.
You tuck around to where you don't think you can be noticed, and then it's at this moment you're like, oh, shit, and you look and you can see hanging out just slightly into it is the foot of one of these stormtroopers. And
Well, I can't nudge it
And
away.
at that point, as this stormtrooper comes up, kind of gets up to the top of the ladder, and you hear, "Trooper down! Trooper down!" And this is like him calling something out. He's like, "Trooper down!" And this guy you see the officer kind of take a step back away from the ladder, and this guy's like going to come up and have the weapon at the ready and start moving in, and he's going to kind of turn back and like call for more people. He's going to be like, "Seize them! Let's get to the bottom of this." And more stormtroopers are starting to move in towards the ship and towards you guys.
I'm gonna have Nate turn on the engine because
Okay.
can Nate access the gunnery? Like, can he fire?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna have him turn it on.
Okay.
And while this stormtrooper is climbing up, I'm gonna come out from my corner, stun him as well, and then hopefully in the next round, Nate will have turned everything on. Then it's like, okay, we can start bombing. We can bomb inside the hangar. Here is the
Okay.
plan.
So it's stormtrooper climbing up the ladder.
He's
He
like
just,
pulled this way in. There's the officer right next to you as well as another stormtrooper, and then more people moving in from kind of the periphery of this hangar. Close to you, there's just the two.
Just the two.
The officer and the other trooper. For the sake of this, I will give you a free, because you had the stealth, so I'll give you a free shot on the stormtrooper up there, and then we're going to go into a new initiative. I want everyone...
Is that a close range?
It'll still be close, yeah. Everything's close inside this little ship.
Okay.
It's either close or engaged inside the ship. For the sake... You can shoot yours. For the sake of...
A success,
everybody-
2 advantage.
Okay, so he'll get stunned. He kind of comes up and he kind of leans in, and you like pop out and hit him, and he falls back stunned. You will, everyone will roll vigilance besides you. Get to roll cool again, Jimmy, because you're kind of laying this.
Because
thing
I'm so
down.
cool. 2 success.
Okay,
3 success.
you're first.
Well, I reckon. Because Scooz is down there too, right?
He is.
I reckon I will try to stun whip the officer.
Okay, you should kind of reach and pull it out. It'll be your maneuver to like pull it out and ready it, and then you can attack with it.
Okay.
Why do I get the feeling that this officer is Ardlow? Or Ardell?
Ardell. The voice doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like him. You think this officer is probably one of Hyde's old guys.
Okay.
And a melee is just always short.
Always average difficulty,
Oh, it's average.
unless there's some modifier to it. Melee attacks are always average difficulty.
Oh my god. Can I spend a penny?
You can spin the bin Kenobi.
Oh my.
That's 3 failures. But one advantage.
But one advantage. You miss terribly trying to hit this guy at the stun whip. What's the advantage? What's the good thing that comes of it, though?
He doesn't notice.
I have a thought. Can I just decide what happens?
Sure. You have a better idea than me.
You stun whip across and it like goes over this guy's head and just smacks your ship. But it smacks it to where it kind of shakes a little panel, and you see Scooz's rocket pistol fall off and tumble down onto the ground at the bottom of the hole. So it's run up and reachable instead of having to climb up the ladder to get to the mini rocket pistol.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good
That sounds
advantage?
like a good one. Yeah.
Okay. And he kind of turns and looks and sees this and is like, blast them! And you're next in the initiative order.
Okay, well, first things first, I'm going to tell Nate to turn this towards them.
Okay.
And would I be able to use my action to get to the gunner and then use the gunnery to fire, or would that be 2 different actions?
I would say you could be in the gunnery seat. by the time, but like currently you're going to be facing the wrong direction and not everything's going to be booted up, but I'd let you get in and be ready to fire on your next round.
Alright, yeah, I'll do that pretty much.
And the ship kind of kicks on and starts to like raise up off the ground as you run across. And he's like, blast them! And he's going to step away from you guys, calling out this, but he seems like he's trying to get distance. And then it will be the troopers, who the one close is going to take a shot at you. Which will be close range. Do you have any ranks of defense?
No.
It's going to be 11 damage before soak. He hits you.
Jeez.
Okay.
He just kind of pulls up and blasts into your side, and it hurts. It hurts, but you're still up. You're still good. And these other troopers are kind of moving in and getting ready. For the sake of this, we'll say one more will get a shot, and it'll be Hexcuse. It'll be at this range. 2 failures for advantage. So he blasts, it misses, but he'll give some boosts, so next round, troopers will have a better chance of hitting. And with that, it is Scuse's turn. I mean...
What does Scooz actually do in a heavy combat situation?
He's gonna fire his rocket pistol for one.
Looking at Scuse, he just like freaks out and he's gonna turn and start running for the ship, and you see him he apparently didn't, like, he does not notice his blaster. Here's his rocket pistol. He just jumps over it and lands on the ladder and starts trying to climb his way up into the ship.
Okay.
Leaving the pistol behind because I rolled in his very easy perception check. He's oblivious and missed. So he did not notice it fall, and he's like, don't worry, I'll get my gun. And he runs and he jumps and he starts climbing up this ladder, leaving his gun behind.
Alright.
The ship kind of boosts up and is able to turn. And with that, it's back to the top of the initiative order, which is you
Me.
You first.
I will run to get Scooz's.
Okay, you pick up. It's a little micro rocket pistol.
I will shoot it in the most... Dang it, do I shoot it just at...
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
No, I'll give you like a better bit of your
idea.
surroundings to have an idea of what you could shoot at.
Okay. And perception, gun and 3, and that's the 1, and average, see?
Mm-hmm.
1 success, 2 advantage.
You notice a couple options. There's kind of a couple of clusters of areas where there's multiple troopers or like personnel. There's one kind of major doorway into this place. There's multiple doorways, but there's certainly one that's like the largest and most main thoroughfare way into here. There's also on roof racks up above some TIE fighters that could probably be deployed. So that's another option of what you could try and shoot and destroy or damage some or most of those.
And mind you, we have the ship up and running, so we could use that to do some damage to TIE fighters, at least make it harder for them to launch. Also, don't forget you have a jet belt, so you could fly up to the ship.
That's true, I do. I'll just shoot it at the cluster of stormtroopers.
Okay. There's kind of one moving in towards you. Go ahead and give me. It'll technically be a ranged light. Will be the check you're making.
Okay.
And it'll just be average. It's going to be medium range.
One success, 1 threat.
Okay. You pull and blast and fire this into like the main cluster moving in towards you. And it seems to kill or injure a good number of them. Some are still up, and they're definitely seeing you as a combat vet that needs to be killed now. That'll be your threat, I guess. But it does seem to take out a couple of them. And the others are kind of blown off their feet and onto their side and addled for a moment.
Okay.
And then you move over, grab that. So that's your turn. That's your turn. You're next.
So, I'm trying to think of like how realistically how many rounds we're going to be doing this. I am going to take shots at some of the clusters in the area around him.
So with this weapon, it's going to be hard to use against people.
Okay.
The way that like starship combat and stuff works is like there's a difference in like the personal scale and the starship scale, and so accurately firing and hitting people with these guns are not going to. It's not going to be particularly easy to do. you can like just lay into an area where they're at, and it'll be more cinematic and less statistical for the sake of this. But using technically you're like not really able to use like starship level weapons on the personal scale.
Well, then scratch that. I'll take out the TIE fighters, because that way when he does get back on the ship, we can get out and not be followed.
Give me an average gunnery as you kind of like twirl and spin up and start blasting into this.
1 failure, 1 advantage.
It seems like you don't destroy any of the TIE fighters in blasting up here, but you damage part of the like release mechanism.
Okay.
Seems like the ships are still functional, but it might be harder for them to be deployed.
Okay.
And with that, that's both of you. Stormtroopers moving in.
Since I have an advantage, can I put a setback die on one of those?
That's the advantage is what I just told you.
Oh, okay.
So unless you wanted to not have damaged anything and just missed.
No, do that. Let's go with that.
That was what I was factoring in your advantage as.
Okay, fair enough. We'll keep it at that.
And with that, some more stormtroopers, like there's that big explosion, like the main group are definitely held back, but a couple more people are going to be kind of moving in and trying to take fire at you because they can see you, and some are also going to be firing at the ship somewhat ineffectively because it's a ship. Okay. You are going to get hit once more for 10 before soak.
Okay, so that would...
I think you go down at this point.
No, because that's how many wounds I have, so I have 11 wounds.
As he's taken, he still has 2 left.
So I got 2 left.
You have a pretty good soak. You have like 6 or something like that. 5, yeah. I mean, you're pretty brawny.
Yeah, okay. Alright.
So another blast hits, and you're definitely badly hurt at this point as another one hits. But more of them go wide and don't seem to connect with you. And a couple blasts, you see like they're like up and firing, but it seems to be hitting the ship. It seems to be doing more cosmetic damage, than like functional damage. One shot does go dangerously close to Nate, but doesn't seem to hit.
Oh, thank God. Alright. Now it's Scooz's turn, isn't it?
It is. Scooz kind of climbs up, and you hear Scooz kind of climb up there, and you're like,
Where's my gun? Where's my rocket pistol? Did you take it?
I don't need it.
Where's my gun?
It probably fell.
Well,
he looks out and probably just in time to kind of see the explosion happen. He'll stick his head out and be like,
nice shot. Now get in here. Let's get out of this place.
and he's going to sing you on the gunnery.
Actually, well, can he release? Because we have some bombs on board, don't we?
Yeah.
Can I have him release a couple?
Yes, but that'd be a very bad idea right now. Because the way that these are not like proton torpedoes.
Okay.
These are like literal like dropped bombs.
Okay.
That like hit and explode. So it would be like dropping a grenade at your feet to do it inside of the hangar right now.
Okay. At least with a man on the ground.
Yes. I mean, even without a man on the ground, you'd want to be up and like you don't want to drop those while you're in the hangar. Because they're big payload explosives that would be exploding right underneath your ship and could damage it in the process.
Fair enough.
Scooz, looking and seeing you in the gunner position, is like,
We need to get out of here.
and you see him turn and run into the cockpit.
Oh, God. Nate, do not give him controls.
And you're like, boop, boop, boop. Do you speak droid?
I mean, probably from hanging around Jedi, I could speak a little, but I won't.
You get the impression that he said, you're like, I never quite got binary down. I think that was something like, I can't stop him. Like, I'm the droid. That's what you think what he said. Like, the ship responds to me, but not over a person. And with that, it's going to go back around to the top of the initiative.
So, Tobaku.
I'm running to get on the ship.
The ship is already up in the air a little bit at this point. So you kind of like slither over and jet booster up onto the ladder. Go ahead and give me an easy athletics check. An easy athletics. So normally this would be an average athletics check to like jump and grab a hold of this, but you get to remove one of the difficulty die because of the boost. That's one of their effects.
Oh, athletics is a brawn? That's it.
Interesting.
I would have thought athletics would be agility. Yeah, alright.
There's coordination, which is kind of the agility-based physical action thing.
Yeah. Which, if it were coordination,
It's
I'd get a 2 advantages.
You're not going to be able to get up inside of the ship, but you're able to boost up and grab a hold of the ladder.
Okay.
So you're at least off the ground, and if this ship takes off, and you don't want to be on it when it leaves the hangar bay, that's for sure. You want to be inside and in the airtight, airlocked cell. But you're on the ladder. With that, then it's you.
Yeah. Are there like consoles, like computers and stuff around that they would need to get the TIE fighters going?
I would say that from your time literally on board this exact ship, you know where those are. You actually kind of cased this hangar previously when
I did when I was trying to escape.
So you have a pretty decent idea of where those kind of control consoles would be.
I'm gonna take those out.
Okay.
Because then it makes it even more difficult.
More difficult to deploy this part. Okay, I think that's a great plan. Go ahead and roll me another average gunnery.
Can I? I wouldn't be able to take a strain to add a blue die to this, would I?
No.
Okay. Where's the shot? 4 success, 2 threats.
All right, you blast in and you hit those. It seems like you have this where you like blast that and it blows up this console, and you're like, they'll have to go through a different console, and there's different like unlock codes and stuff they'll have to do. It'll take more time, but you do have this like memory of like, fuck, we still have to get out of here, and there's a tractor beam once we leave this hangar. And so that worry is in the back of your mind. That's your threat. But you're able to successfully hit that console. And you think that'll definitely slow down the progress of getting these TIE fighters deployed.
I think I have an idea for how, if we get caught in the tractor beam, I think I have an idea on how we can try and avoid that.
Okay.
But we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there.
We'll burn that bridge down when it collapses out from underneath. And with that, it'll go to the stormtroopers. Sklar, you're going to have a couple more, or at least one more shot coming at you, hopefully not knocking you off this ladder. One failure, one advantage. Okay, so the blast goes wide and does not hit you as you're dangling from this ladder. And you're like, this ship was hovering pretty straight up and like turned very well, and then it turned again really well. And now all of a sudden it's like on a rock, and not moving very straight at all. And you hear from inside the cockpit,
Get in here! I'm about to punch it!
I say, help me up!
Scoos, go help him!
I gotta punch it!
No, they don't punch him!
and after that it'll go back to the top of the initiative order, which is you.
I climb up.
Yeah, you want it to make a check.
Okay.
Actually, no, go ahead and make me an easy coordination to not fall off of this ladder because of how unsteadily Scoos is flying this ship.
Okay. One success, 4 advantage.
You slither right up that thing like you were born to. It's very you're able to climb up inside of this ship very quickly.
Alright, so I'm just gonna shut to Scoos. Now punch it!
Punching it!
And he'll jet outside of the same. There's a couple more like little blasts that'll hit you from stormtrooper fire. Nothing that's going to be functional against this ship. And you jettison outside of this hangar. As soon as you do, you can tell that like they're probably going to start getting ready to try and hit you with that. What's the plan?
Well, if they do hit us with the tractor beam, the plan is... Okay, this might be a more cinematic thing, but I'm just saying, the moment we get hit with the tractor beam, we release the bombs.
Okay.
And the bombs likely will travel quicker than our ship.
Okay.
And they'll hit the ship most likely and potentially knock out the tractor beam, allowing us to escape.
All right. So you think that to be able to release these and have them get caught up and like not get just drug and hit your own ship, you're gonna have to kind of try and maneuver while in the tractor beam to have the bottom like bomb release hatch aimed towards the tractor beam, and then when it's released, you think there's at least a chance it'll get picked up and pulled that way.
Yeah.
So
What if our ship is already wobbling?
it's already wobbly. It's very wobbly right now, but what you need to have happen is quickly, because you're getting hit by this tractor beam as soon as you leave the hangar, is somebody's got to make a piloting check to position the ship where it needs to be. And then you will have to make, or whoever in the gunnery seat, which is you right now, will have to make a gunnery check to time releasing the bombs at a good moment.
Okay.
The difficulty of which will be dependent on the piloting check. So, are you shouting this plan out? Because you won't have enough time to swap seats.
Yeah. I'm shouting this plan out. The hope would be that Tobaku takes over piloting, because he's naturally gifted at piloting. or Nate would do it for us.
What do you shout out?
Okay. All right, Scoos, I have a plan, but I need you to get off the piloting seat.
You have like 2 sentences you can say.
Okay.
So you don't have enough time to formulate a
Okay,
real plan. You
okay.
gotta just say it, and that's your time.
Dude, Scoos, give Tobaku the seat. Tobaku, or would that count as a sentence?
That's one.
Tobaku, position the bottom of the ship towards the Titan.
So are you kind of rushing
I'll
into
rush
this?
too.
He has like scooted forward off of the chair, still holding the controls to try and give you the seat. Go ahead and give me your choice. Do you want to try and, like, through the energy that you guys share as buddies, let him know that you need to take the range, or do you want to just try and throw him out of the way?
The energy we have as buddies.
All right, go ahead and give me a easy charm check.
Oh.
And add a boost die.
One success.
He leans forward, he sees you walking in, and there's this moment where your eyes, your hairy eyes, match with his squinty little eyes, and he gets it, and he just floats away from it as you slide into the chair, and you are on the controls. Give me a piloting space to maneuver your ship so the bottom is aimed towards the tractor beam.
Easy or no?
This will be hard.
Hard.
This will be a hard piloting space.
Use a force die. Make one of those yellow.
Okay. So you can upgrade one of those greens to a yellow. This is cinematic AF, so I won't stack the hand against you. And you take the boost die away. You don't have a boost die, unless you have a boost to piloting planetary.
Yeah, that was
space,
from
space.
my old thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's let it roll.
Blank slate.
Straight nothing.
It's a wash.
So you're able to swerve the ship. It's you take the controls very hard. It kind of swerves. You're fighting against a tractor beam that's trying to align your ship, and so it's kind of this rocky swing back and forth. And I want you to make me, because it's a straight wash, it'll be an average gunnery check to try and time the releasing of these explosives.
Flip that other one. I'm making a yellow. One success, one advantage.
All right, so he's kind of turns and he kind of rocks, and the tractor beam realigns, and he rocks, and the tractor beam realigns as it's almost about to be pulled back into this hangar.
Uh-huh.
He jerks hard, and you have just this split second as it flattens out where you can release the hatch, and you release, and 2 bombs release out as this thing kind of straightens, and you don't hear it because it's in the vacuum of space, but you feel a sudden release as the ship jerks forward and kind of tumbles around as an explosion happens behind you. And you can see it looks like the Titan's tractor beam is not functional, at least for a moment, as 2 bombs hit and explode against it.
Punch it!
And he slaps your shoulder. He's like, punching it!
I punch it.
You punch it, and you floor it out of there, and you hear and you see astrogation information go across for a hyperspace jump.
All right.
Jump it! And and it seems like it's a fairly short hyperspace jump that lands you almost directly outside of Dantooine, where the base is. It seems like where the ship was basically they were just waiting on the nearest hyperspace lane to this system and questioning ships as they came through. So he jumps you much closer to Dantooine. It's a much sketchier he's not using a hyperspace lane. He's just astrogation checking and figuring out a lane, but you're able to jump and get very close to Dantooine.
I take a sigh of relief. I climb up the ladder, and I go to the 3 currently stunned stormtroopers
That are still on board your ship?
still on board my ship, and I execute them.
Okay.
I'm not even taking the
Not
risk.
playing that game.
I'm just putting them down.
Okay, they are put down. Easy enough to do.
Yeah. Well, that was intense.
That was awesome. We should do it again.
I don't think Tobaku wants to do that anymore.
Squeezing, grabbing his bullet wounds.
Just holding them. All right, let's get you back to the base. So now we're near Dantooine again?
Yeah, you're able to be able to fly to the base from there.
So I like, all right, Nate, take controls. I'm going to get on the comm and try to hail Shulo and see if they're still there.
You hail in and you're able to get a hold of Shulo. And he said, he's good to see you back alive.
Barely.
Were you successful?
Yes, but we ran into trouble. I'll explain more when we're on planet.
We'll make sure the field's clear for you to land.
Also have some stim packs and a medic ready for one of us.
Will do.
My innards.
And you guys land in the secret Dantooine base, unloading off. There is some medical personnel ready for you. They'll hit you with the stim packs. You'll get 5 back immediately. And then they'll also do a medicine check on you. Are you at half of your life? Are you at less than half of your total wounds?
Yeah.
Okay. 4 more. Decent.
Nice.
So they heal you up as best they can. You kind of get some emergency medical treatment, and then you're brought back up to Shulo to give the lowdown showdown of everything that happened, which I assume you do.
Yes.
How do you explain to him everything that happened?
Well, I explained to him how we got said information on the planet. We had to help out a sketchy politician, who I'm assuming. But we got our information, and I kind of pull up the box.
Okay.
This is what I can only assume is what we were looking for.
That Whisper whatever device.
Second issue, coming off of one of the laneways, ran into the Titan.
Star Destroyer the Titan?
Yes, it was my.
I thought that's a training vessel.
It is. It's also my old ship. And we were stopped. As you can guess, we had to improvise greatly. And I kind of like point towards Tobaku, like his injuries.
Got like all these bandages wrapped around his chest.
So we managed to get away, but they weren't that far off of the system. So I'm gonna suggest we may need to hightail it out of here.
Hopefully, for our sake, it'll take some time for them to narrow down to this planet specifically.
Well, they're gonna need to do a lot of repairs, but
that I like to hear. In the meantime, we'll get ready to relocate. Hopefully, we won't have to, but time will tell. We'll make sure that we're ready to pack up and leave at a moment's notice. Now comes the next part. Figuring out how this box works.
Well, I kind of just like kind of press it like to
The little
pop
thing
the
pops out.
like that's as far as I got.
Kind of look at it and check, test. And kind of looks like the apparatus, and he's trying to figure it out. And he seems to look it over, but doesn't seem to be able to sort anything out and how to work it. He's like, I don't really. There's some underneath in this compartment here. There's some sort of knobs and buttons. I'm a little nervous to just start wildly pushing, but.
I know one person who wouldn't be nervous, but I don't know if we want him messing with it.
You'd probably somehow do a lot of damage, but offset it by being somewhat useful.
We'll make it work, but also for some reason, like, weld a grenade to it.
I guess I'll just start kind of.
Go ahead and
messing
give
with
me a hard computers check.
One advantage.
You can, like, you start to kind of maneuver and change this stuff, and it seems like there's, like, you start to hear sound kind of break and, like, come in like, little bits of what sounds like kind of unintelligible jabble. It's hard to really understand exactly what is being said, and it, like, keeps cutting in and cutting out, and you don't seem to be able to find the right setting for it to just, like, set and stay there. But it seems like it is functional. It's just kind of finding that happy medium.
Yeah.
You might need someone with a bit more fine skills to make it work.
Well, looks like we're stuck.
I'm not sure of Also, when you return back, you do notice that that ship, that Alucurn's like freighter, is parked out front.
Still here.
It's still here. He says that, and Alucurn would probably be in this room actually. And he said, "I've got no real computers knowledge. My mechanic might be able to help, though I don't think we really want Jigakung just welding into this thing. Don't want to break anything."
What about the droid?
We could certainly see. I don't know if I trust Bypass for such a thing, but he's well suited for it.
Bring him up.
And they bring up Bypass, and coming in that little track, stick on a tank tread with his little robot arms comes in.
All right, Bypass. I need you to try and find our happy medium here.
And kind of comes over. You see him kind of like these little arms kind of twist around and come to the front and like start clicking and twisting and maneuvering and stuff. And it kind of like twists back around, and it's like, in order to successfully activate the device, I will need to make small alterations.
What do you mean small? Or more specifically, what do you mean alterations?
Rearrangement and configuring of controls.
Well, we're kind of at a loss here. Might as well let him do it.
He kind of shrugs at you. Shula kind of shrugs and is like, "I think it's the best bet we've got."
Do it.
You see him kind of like, he kind of is like welding this like extra like wiring line between two, and you see him kind of pop off one of these little knob controls, and it like plugs in, and he's just kind of adjusting and changing this stuff, and it like twists back around, and then like this one last alarm that comes out is like pushes a button, and you hear like all of a sudden words start coming through, and it's like, it is not a language you recognize, but it's kind of like this stream of babble that kind of comes out, and there's a pause, and then it repeats itself, and then there's a pause, and then it repeats itself. It seems like it's this message just playing on a loop.
Okay.
And then Shulo's like, "Let's get this on a computer system. We need to decipher this. We need to figure out what this is saying. Someone help." And you see like a couple of the people in this control room start to like plug into some computer systems and stuff, and it takes them a while to like. It seems like they are spending a long time trying to decipher this, and what they end up finding out is that like the dialect being used in this is a fairly old ancient version of like the native tongue of the Mon Cala, like Admiral Akbar. So it sounds like jumbled up like fish noises almost, instead of words. But as they find this out and they translate it across, this is the message that comes through on repeat. "In the fallback fortress, with walls of stars and the armies of the crimson-eyed blue soldiers on watch, lies the reply, and with it the greatest weapon against our enemies. It resides within the Leviathan that is beached there. This weapon belongs to whoever thaws the frozen key. May the Force guide them to use it to build and not destroy."
Oh.
The Crimson-Eyed?
It says it's in the fallback fortress with walls of stars and the armies of the crimson-eyed blue soldiers.
Oh, yeah, the Alabama Crimson Eye.
If someone would like to roll a xenology for me.
Oh, I have that.
Yeah, you do that.
A knowledge xenology.
Well, I have a rank in it, but I also have.
Well,
oh no, I got 2 in it.
I'll also
It'll be an average.
I'll also roll a xenology just for the hell of it. 2 success.
Okay.
Unfair.
This isn't any animal you've ever heard of. Leviathan is like big sea monster. That one makes sense to you. You have like more like red-eyed blue, like blue with red eyes. You're like Chiss, the Chiss species.
Yeah, I knew when you said crimson-eyed, I was like,
that's a very weird and kind of niche species that lives out in the middle of nowhere. And with that, I'd like both of you to roll me another knowledge check. What are the knowledge skills? It's like lore or outer rim.
Core worlds, education, lore, outer rim.
We'll call it outer rim. We'll let you do outer rim for this one, or lore if you have it.
Average.
It'll be average again.
I'll do outer rim. 1 success.
Okay.
Average, you see?
Mm-hmm. Straight nothing.
They're straight
You're like, I don't know nothing about these chiss. And you're like, something else of this kind of like strikes a chord with you. And that is the fallback fortress with walls of stars. That in the context of the chiss makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
You have heard of a place before called the Redoubt, which is in chiss space. It's part of their kind of empire. And it's like a nebulous, strange part of space where there's stars all over that are like fairly close together, and it's like very hard to maneuver. And the chiss, that's their like hidden away like fallback position if their nations were under attack. Like that's where they go. That's where their armies are like deployed and defending, and that's like their hiding place because it's so hard to maneuver and so defensible.
Okay.
So that would make sense as like the Redoubt with the in chiss space would make sense as this fortress.
Can I do also a lore to see if there's anything with anything else about the thawing the keys or something like that?
You can go and roll lore.
Let's do that again. 2 success and a threat.
There is nothing in lore you've ever heard about thawing off keys. You don't know what the key is talking about.
Well, we at least know the general direction where we're going.
You know, like a part of like this is like a small clustered area, a very dangerous one. You know that it's not like just that the chiss run away to there when they're in trouble. Like it is their fortified location in space at all times, so that it's safe to run to, and that they don't like outsiders going there. Are you guys sharing all this information with Shiloh and the people down there? Okay.
Especially like the information about the chiss and their fortress.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he's like, that sounds like I've heard of this part of space, a very dangerous place to go, and certainly not somewhere that one would want to travel into willy-nilly.
Yeah.
It says though that the reply, it says the Crimson-Eyed Blue Soldiers on their watch lies the reply. Do you suppose that's the other end of this device?
Most likely.
If that's the other end of this device, it goes on to say, and with it, the greatest weapon against our enemies. That to me says there's something else there. A weapon that they saw as the greatest force they have against those that they were facing off against. Some sort of super weapon, maybe? What do you think?
I wouldn't know.
I reckon maybe communication's just the greatest weapon.
While metaphorically beautiful, this seems to be specifically talking about two different things to me.
Because it does mention, hopefully, if you will build and not destroy.
What sort of device or weapon can both build and destroy?
One that's well beyond any of our comprehensions.
But hopefully within our use, if we were able to track it down.
True, though. I'm going to be honest with you. Having that other end of the communication is more important. That weapon is too dangerous for us to have.
Well, if nothing else, the communication would certainly be useful. And depending on what the nature of this other weapon is, it may be helpful to us to at least research it and understand it. Or if nothing else, keep it out of the hands of the Empire. That being said, going to the Redoubt in Chiss space, blindly searching for where in the system this place might be hidden is no easy task.
No, and they don't take kindly to outsiders.
Certainly not. I think the Empire would hardly get a pass to go to such a place in Chiss space, let alone strangers.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a suicide mission to me.
Most likely is.
I reckon we going on a lot of suicide missions.
Well, if we do this, we're definitely going to need to beef up the prism, because it will not survive out there.
Says, we can certainly do what we can as far as trying to get your ship ready for a larger scale of conflict.
I also need to. We also need to, or at least I'm gonna volunteer and be like, I also need to do some work on Nate. Had some issues with him, and frankly, don't need that happening again.
Because I can understand it's not a reliable model. It's just what we had. That we can certainly take some time, do some preparation, do what we can to help the ship. I'm afraid I can't supply much in terms of reinforcements. The fleets we have, our squadrons here are still in training and are required for the war effort. I wish I could offer backup. And Alucard kind of pipes up and he says, well, there is some options for backup. I have some friends in other places that could possibly help with such a task. Though one in particular who's rather effective at suicide missions specifically, he does come typically at a fairly high cost, but would certainly be helpful and I believe has a ship of his own. And from what I hear is keeping rather unique company in recent days. Stirring up all sorts of trouble.
Well, we'll take all the help we can get. I think it's also time we call it I cash in my favor.
He says, any favors you can cash in would certainly be useful. And this Alucard says, I will make a call to my friend and see if he's available.
You do that. Tobaku, we gotta go find us a smuggler.
Oh no. He's just gonna make it worse.
Well, are you guys going to try and call in Dev Malior?
I'm gonna call in Dev for my favor.
Okay.
I'm gonna have.
I would say, so for the sake of this, you guys can kind of go your separate ways for a little bit of prep work stuff. What you could probably, they know the channels to go through to reach out to Dev. What are you wanting to request of him?
Dev. Well, first of all, I'm going to make it perfectly clear. Dev Malior, this is one of your rescuers from. What was the planet we rescued him from?
Dresh. Home planet?
Yeah.
Dresh. Yeah, your home planet. Dresh.
Dev, this is one of the men who rescued you from Duresh and helped you get your ship. I'm cashing in my favor, and I need you to bring me some supplies for my ship. And a few credits. And some credits.
Yeah, reckon he's those 1,000 credits.
Probably.
I
don't remember.
Tobaku. Whatever we get is gonna have to go to Alucard's friend.
Yeah.
I need you, Dev. I need the parts for my ship, and enough credits to pay a hired hand. That'll be my favor, and you'll never see me again. And I leave it at that.
Okay, that message is going to be delivered to the right passageways to get to Dev's ears. Hopefully he'll respond and come with the assistance you need. Any other... In the meantime, is there anything else you guys are wanting to do?
I'm working on Nate.
Working on Nate? Trying to fix him up?
I'm trying to get him to where at least if we have one of those situations, he doesn't crash on me
Give
again.
me a hard mechanics check. Go ahead and upgrade one of those.
A failure.
Seems like this boy's beyond helping. It seems like he's fully functional, just a junky robot.
Well, I guess I tried. I'm gonna... Alucard and them have already left, I'm assuming.
They're gonna stay put here. It seems like he's gonna be using like a comms array to try and send this message out.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna walk up to like Alucard and his group and just be like, "What other supplies do you have that we can have for this? Because we're gonna need as much as we can."
says I have most of what I have. I've put out and given here. Is there something in particular you are wanting?
Any stim packs, health.
I can certainly outfit you with some stim packs and some Bacta.
Can I take this? Can I take that suppressor now?
You can take the suppressor for your gun, your handgun.
Oh man.
I mean, that's pretty much all I'm asking for is like more health and medical stuff for us, because Yeah, that was a close one with Tobaku here.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, now I'm just waiting for Dev to bring me my shit.
Okay. And with that, I think that's why we're going to call this session. Next time, we'll see if help arrives in the form of Dev Malior or others. And we'll see you guys prepare to head off into Chiss space, into the Redoubt. In the hunt for the other end of the Whisper Conveyance Engine and this strange mystery weapon of this mysterious order. Next time on Rebel Scum.
I can hardly wait. Oh my god.
My nerves. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.